Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Horn, and I am one of the digital project leads at All4Birth. I'm here with Elle Narbrook, and we are just talking about eco-friendly parenting choices. And today's interview is about Preloved Clothes. So, Ellie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. I'm a mum to Silas, and he just turned one. Um,
Yay, congratulations.
what else do I say?
What what do you do? Where do you live?
Yeah, I'm a family photographer who specializes in bumps, birth, and babes. So I work with a lot of um, babies and children and pregnant people a lot. And I live in Sheffield.
Great. And you mentioned that your baby Silas is one. And it would, yeah, I'm just curious to know just how was pregnancy for you, and how did that all go for you?
So I had hyperemesis for the first six months, six
Mhm.
months. And then I was thankfully on medication, which for me it really helped. And then I was slowly able to like wean myself off of the medication around like month 7, 8. And then I was like struck with a cold on month 9.
Oh no.
It was not the best, but there were some
Yeah.
enjoyable moments.
Yeah, so I should add to those listening in that this is real life. You might see dogs pop up, cats pop up, babies might need changing. It's bedtime where we are, so yeah, so we might need to pause and come back. That's completely fine. um, so yeah, no, that hyperemesis can be really tough in pregnancy, and yeah, so it's really good. I always like to celebrate um the birthdays. It's a birthday for your baby, but it's also like a celebration of you as a mom as well, and of that day.
That was the thing is that like I mean, I guess like it being my first child, and I think like quite a few of my friends, because quite a few of my friends are like in the birth world and are like birth workers and things like that. And I'd say like the friends who weren't were all like, "Oh, happy birthday, Silas."
Mhm.
And the friends who were all like, "Congratulations on making it through."
Yes.
And I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Yeah, you've done it. You did it. We celebrate the birthdays of our, businesses, of like employment and, owning a home. I think making a baby and looking after it for a year is a pretty big deal. So
Yeah,
yay, you.
yeah. Like it's his birthday, great, but go.
Yeah. So, um, so yeah, so you are also kind of involved in the birth world through photography and things like that.
Mm,
And I also know that you um, do lots of eco-friendly parenting choices, like you breastfeed, you do cloth diapering, and also you use pre-loved clothes.
mm.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into it? Did you wear pre-loved clothes as a child? Like what kind of sparked your idea to use
Um,
it?
I I used to be heavily into fashion. Like at university, I was like brand designers and all this sort of stuff. And then I learned a lot more about fast fashion and just how terrible fast fashion is.
Mhm.
And there was a period where I did like one of those challenges or something like before I was pregnant. And
Mm.
it was like, don't buy anything, don't buy any clothes for a year and like just wear what you have. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. And I made it to 6 months. And then I was like, oh, but I'm feeling kind of miserable about myself. And I like used shopping as like a way to make myself feel better.
Mhm.
And then I was like, well, what if I just buy something from a charity shop? Like there's a jumper there that I really like. And like, can I buy that? And so then I sort of like so I didn't buy, so then my don't buy anything for a year turned into don't buy anything new for a year.
Yeah.
And then I went crazy at shops and charity shops
Yeah.
and then I reeled that in.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it started like with me and my fashion and like in my buying habits for myself. And then when I got pregnant, like at that point, I already knew like there's enough clothes out there in the world for everybody already, and we don't really need to be making more clothes. And the way in which clothes are made is not very ethical. And I mean, there's an argument that there is no way to make ethical clothing under capitalism, but we don't really have to go into that.
Mhm. Yeah.
But so yeah, and with that in mind, I decided that I wouldn't buy any new clothes um, if I could help it. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes, like any normal person, I'm
Yeah.
walking through a shop and I see something and I'm like, that is really cute,
Yeah.
and I buy it. But for the most part, everything that we've had for Silas is secondhand. And most of that has been purchased through most of it has been purchased through two different apps,
Mhm.
um, which is Depop and Vented. Um,
Mhm.
Originally, when I was pregnant and up to like the first couple months of him being around, it was Depop. But then I found Vented, and I much prefer Vented now.
Mhm.
But now I don't even go. I don't even but yeah, they just have it. It's a lot more like friendly for kids' clothes
Yeah.
to like navigate, and it's a bit more accessible to find what you're looking for on there. So yeah.
No, that sounds great. I mean, because I don't think we realize the environmental impact that our clothes can have. And with pre-loved clothes, it's or secondhand clothes. It's sometimes it's kind of like I'm noticing as I'm talking to more people who make these eco-friendly choices that are driven either because of the environment or because of their kind of ethical standpoint, or even just for financial reasons.
Mhm.
It sometimes it can kind of be a gift that keeps on giving, like once you get into it.
Yeah.
So if you're buying from a charity shop, for example, that money's going towards a charity. So you could
Mhm.
find a charity that you really want to support and shop there.
Yeah, and that's the other thing as well. Like when you buy pre-loved, you're buying from like another parent, or like
Mhm.
buying from somebody who like probably has more need of that money than like ASOS or H&M, who
Yeah.
have like billions to spare.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if it's billions, but it's more than I have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like directly helping somebody either finance like more years of their kids' clothes, or find
Mhm.
something else that they can find useful.
Yeah.
So I do quite like the sort of circular aspect of pre-loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really it's it's interesting when you mentioned that kind of like this, you still kind of get this your shopping buzz from pre-loved as well. Because I actually found a pair of shoes in a charity shop today, and I don't know about you, but when I find a good deal, when it's in really good condition and the price is really good, and you're like, oh, like I feel like I just, bought some designer,
Yeah.
some designer, I don't know, outfit or something. It feels really good.
Like, or like some of it is like there's like a fine line, because I also have to be like because baby clothes are so cute.
I know, they're addictive.
Really cute, addictive. And like there are times when I'm like, you don't need any more. Like
Mhm.
have enough clothes to clothe this baby.
Yeah,
Like, yes, this is a great deal, and yes, this is a great bundle, and it's priced really well, but you don't need it. You have
yeah,
enough. And there has been a point because I do like, we're like the late night scrolls, you're up feeding or you're up doing something or like whatever. And what's the first thing you do is you grab your phone for some sort of like mindless scroll because you don't know how much time you're going to have, whether you're going to have 15 minutes or 2 hours,
yeah.
whatever. And so you're just sat there scrolling on your phone. And for me, it was scrolling on pre-loved pages and pre-loved apps and things like
Mm.
that. And then I was just spending much money. And I was like, I need to delete these apps. So like there'd be periods where I'm like, okay, he's outgrown most of his clothes.
Yeah,
I'll re-download the apps and now I can do the search again.
yeah,
And then immediately once I've purchased those things, delete the apps.
yeah,
And then if I'm selling something, because I sell a lot of stuff through there as well, have like all notifications off unless like you sell something.
mhm.
And then I like move the app around so that like, how like when you open your phone, your thumb
Yeah,
instinctively,
you automatically scroll to something.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to move the app around on my phone.
Mhm.
I don't just like, like swipe up and click.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people that have really young babies and children who are up at like 2 o'clock in the morning talk about that shopping. So like it's almost like, if you're shopping, you could shop pre-loved, but whatever you're doing, be mindful of how much you're spending. But it makes me think as well, because I think at one point in my life, buying secondhand clothes wasn't cool and trendy.
Mm,
And now as an adult, and I see it becoming more popular, and people realize how it's not just good financially, but it's good for the environment as well.
mm,
That, it's encouraging lots of pockets of people that, you can um, you know, create a whole wardrobe for your children, for yourself, for your family on secondhand clothes. And it's so much more kind of accessible now, and people are kind of into um, selling secondhand, to trading, to renting. So there's so many different options for people.
yeah, and I've noticed as well that like there's a trend towards repair as well.
Hmm.
Even the clothes that you have, like I think there was one like baby girl or something that I had. It was one of my favorite ones. I think actually it was one that I gave to you.
Is it?
It was like Suns or something, and somehow like maybe it snagged on something in the washing machine, but it like ripped on the back.
Hmm.
Then I just like grabbed a needle and thread and like stitched it back up, and it's still like a perfectly fine, like
Hmm.
usable piece of clothing with like a tiny bit of a stitch. And I follow like some people, um I don't know if it's like TikTok or Instagram, wherever, but like, I mean, they're a lot fancier, fancier than me, but like they repair clothes with like intricate embroideries and stuff.
Hmm.
Like they make the repair part of the design of the clothing. And I'm not saying that like we need to do this for like all of our baby clothes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it as in the sense that like the things that we have can all still be used, and like repairing things is becoming seemingly like okay.
Yeah.
Having like a patch here, a patch there. And I even saw like when Silas was wearing baby grows, like somebody was like, oh, if they've outgrown it lengthwise, just cut the feet off and they can keep wearing it. And I was like,
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started cutting the feet off. And whilst like from sort of like a resale perspective, like it's a little bit more difficult to then resell
Hmm.
something that you like make that sort of change to. If you're kind of handy with a needle and thread, and you can stitch it up a bit nicer, or you cut kind of nice.
Mhm.
As long as you like say cuts
Yeah.
and like have it at a little bit of a discounted price, like it's fine. Like people will still get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that I've noticed with secondhand baby clothes as well is often, well, because we have this culture of buy, 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 buy sometimes, and you get so many gifts a lot of the times when you have a baby
Yeah.
that, I know with my first child, maybe there were things that she wore once or twice. And so if you're getting that secondhand, it's such in good condition. So that's another thing to think about as
Well,
well.
I
Yeah.
think there's two sides to that. So there's one where you get like barely used clothes
Mhm.
that are like, I mean, there are quite a few things that I've sold that are, or that I still have that I need to sell, that are brand new. They were gifts, and either like it didn't fit Silas, or I don't know, some of them, there seems to be like a velvet trend at the moment, which I just can't, my sensory like cannot stand
Yeah.
the feel of velvet. And I
Yeah.
put on a velvet shirt once and I was like, I can't even touch my baby.
Oh.
So all of those
Yeah.
just in a pile.
Mhm.
Um, but so there's that where you get like barely used or new clothes. But I think one of the other things about pre-loved clothes is there is a tendency, especially with baby clothes, to put them in a dryer a lot of the time, especially like for people who live in the UK, where it's like a wetter climate, darker climate. You don't get as much opportunity to like put it outside unless it's the summer. You stick it maybe in the dryer if you don't have like space for a drying rack or the time for
Mhm.
a dry rack. And the dryer shrinks clothes. So depending on some things, like there have been like some bundles that I bought, which was supposed to be like an 18 to 24-month vest. And they arrive and they're like really, it says 18 to 24 on the tag, but they fit like 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
So like with buying pre-loved clothes, I've now started asking like, does it fit like an 18 to 24 month, or
Mhm.
do you have a photo of it like next to like something else for like a size comparison, or like do you put your clothes in the dryer, just because that can make a difference,
Yeah.
um, with buying different things.
No, that's a really good point. And you've dropped some good gems in here about how to care for clothes, what to look for when buying and reselling, and how to repair clothes. So like, I think people will have lots and lots to learn from you.
Mm.
Are there any kind of final thoughts or reflections? Any, do you, it's one thing to like, put babies in pre-loved clothes because it's just, so much of it. Like, do you see yourself continuing to do this as Silas gets older?
I think for like at the moment, yes, like 100%. I see myself doing pre-loved clothes as much as possible with him. I do recognize that there will be a point where um, he will want to have more choice in what he wears.
Mhm.
It's not as easy or accessible for a child to go through like pre-loved apps and be
Yeah.
like, I want this or I want that. Like they're much more tactile, like want to go and see something, or so I do foresee challenges in terms of like Silas having more choice and autonomy over what he wants to wear.
Mhm.
But for now, when I get to choose it,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy it as much as possible and continue with the pre-loved. And I mean, I will do my best to like instill in the values that I
Yeah.
have around pre-loved clothes, but it's not something that I would force
Yeah.
anybody, not even on Silas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that that sounds fantastic. I mean, and what I'm learning as well is that any kind of eco-friendly choice, it's not an all or nothing
Mhm.
option. Like you can, even if you have some pre-loved clothes in your closet, it's better than always buying something new.
Mm,
If you're trading clothes with friends or so because sometimes you just want something new to feel nice, or something new to you.
yeah,
Um, so there's so many different ways that you can tailor it to your lifestyle and your needs.
yeah,
And it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ellie. It's been really lovely talking to you.
Well, thank you.
Um, yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.